niggas just don't know. I don't know. I'm looking, yeah.
Marc Clarke, that's classic. I love it.
And welcome to the show. We have an exciting show. We got a superstar in the building. Not you, Bootsy Vegas, but a real deal superstar. Everybody who is asking the question, yes?
Yesterday's price is not today's price.
No, it's...
Yesterday's price is not today's price.
We've got a world-famous artist on the show. We are coming up, and without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the PJ Morton joins us on the Marc Clarke Show. PJ, what's going on, my brother?
What's going on? What's going on? Good to be with you, man.
What's
up,
the
Bootsy?
bank accounts
What's
going up?
Yes, sir.
So you know, Boots. First of all, PJ, it's not often we have artists of your stature on the show. I mean, we had Will Downing in last week. You know, I'm seeing OG in the game.
Yes, sir.
We have a mixture of the old and the new. You know, growing up in that church,
Yes, sir.
PJ has seen unthinkable things on those church picnics on with the kids section. Before we get started, well, you know, I'll do it later on. So PJ, we're so excited to have you. I got a couple things, Bootsy. I'm rolling out for PJ. I'm calling this Off the Dome. I'm gonna play some video images, PJ, and I'm just gonna off the dome. I just want to get your impression. Can we do that real quick?
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
It's just real quick, just some random things. I'm just curious. Don't even think about it. I'm gonna play it and
Just
give me
off the
your
top.
thought. Off the dome. You ready?
All right.
Here we
I'm
go.
a
Here's
little
the
nervous.
first.
All right, let's
This
see
is
what we
first
got.
up, Bootsy. You know this one, Bootsy. PJ Morton,
Yes,
on the
sir.
piano in church. What was your first thought?
Well, there's no piano in there. That's way before my time. But man, that's what you can see where soul music come from, you know, because that's the root of it right there. They ain't need no music. It's just foot stomps and hand claps. And I know the people were moving in there because you can feel it through the screen. Way before my time, but I connect to it, you know.
PJ, now I don't know if you know about this right here. Wake up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's my roots right there. I couldn't help but move when it's as soon as it started, man. That's any party in New Orleans, ending with the second line, bringing the second line band in, and you know you got the DJ, whatever you had going on at the party, right? Like the DJ playing all the hits and everything. When the second line band comes, well, first of all, you know it's about to end. And then everybody's turning up, you know what I'm saying? And that right there, and they'll go from that, and then they'll go to Casanova. I ain't got the Casanova. Oh man, woo, man! I'm telling you,
now, PJ. He's taking you back, right?
We're gonna do
yes,
one
sir.
more and happen in the interview. But this is yours though. This one, I think this went viral, and I'm curious. I don't know. Well, we know it's awesome. All your stuff's awesome, but this one, for whatever reason, got a lot of love.
I know your eyes in the morning sun. I feel you touch me in the pouring rain. And the moment that you wander far from me, I wanna feel arms again, and you come to me on a summer breeze. Keep me warm in your love, then you softly me, and it's me. How deep is your love? It's your love. How deep is your love? I really mean to love, 'cause we're living in a world of fools, yeah, breaking us down, yeah.
Of course, the irrepressible PJ Morton. And so PJ, you know, you come into this earth in the gumbo of culture in America. And PJ, I had to laugh because in addition, not only is PJ Morton in New Orleans, where musically you're going to get gospel, jazz, R&B, blues, everything, right? Then your dad is Canadian born. That's that little extra. You add a little extra on it right there. Yeah. A little extra Canadian born, but then bathed in the blackness and the history of America. Man, you can't help but be different, as the kids say. He different.
Man, yeah, I think it just really made me, you know, open to all things, and I think that has been a big part of what has made me who I am. Is because I don't close off any type of inspiration or influence. I'm open to it all. If it feels right, I'm open to it, and I think that does come from my mother being born and raised in New Orleans in the Magnolia Projects, and my dad being born in Windsor, Ontario, Canada. And he come and just happened to become the pastor of the church that her grandmother was a founder of. You know, it's just all mixed in there. And you know, the only person that can work with Kirk Franklin and Fred Hammond and Lil Wayne and Maroon 5, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm all over the place, man.
Speak on it.
But I'm open to all of it, and have been able to move organically, you know, through all of these worlds. Even that song, right? How Deep Is Your Love, being a Bee Gees song that I made and put my soul into it, and it's you know, it's me doing that, and it won me my first Grammy Award. You know what I'm saying? So it's just I love putting all these worlds together, man. It's really who I am in a genuine way, you know.
It was crazy as me and Bootsy we dabble in the music world, and so we all know, everybody knows all musicians from New Orleans. Number one, they can play their ass off. Number two, they know how to drink and party. Number three, they're fine. If it's a woman, she's fine. And wait a minute, Bootsy, and that's the white guys. but Bootsy, you and Go-Go. I know I'm from little Springfield, Illinois, right? Mm-hmm. But from Springfield to my different travels around the country, PJ, I ain't never met a drummer from New Orleans who ain't amazing.
Yeah.
I'm talking about it could be usually they don't have their own drum set. It's weird. Usually there's some drama going on. He might have a warrant. But let me tell you something. And always, Bootsy, he gonna be with you for a couple dates, but then other dates he vanished. But he was the coldest drummer you ever met.
We tried to. You know, this new generation, my generation. I tried to change the culture of the business of New Orleans. You know what I'm saying? But you're absolutely right. And the reason those musicians can play is because we don't let you out of here. You probably give up before you really go try to pursue it if you're not nice, because it's so many people who are great here. I'm talking about, you got to beat the guy on the street first. You know what I'm saying? Like, he'll smoke you. You know what I'm saying? So you can't talk about going and being a musician. You know what I'm saying? And you can't even smoke the guys that are in the streets and around playing. But it really, you know, you're working out with weights on. You know, you got extra weights on. So when you make it out of the city, you just prepared in a different way, man. And I'm so grateful for that upbringing. It's just like I fell into it, you know. I ain't have no choice in the matter, but I'm so grateful that I just fell in this city, man, and you know, had that training. You know, it's just amazing, man.
Now, okay, so PJ, it's so many layers to unpack, but as a true PJ Morton fan, I'm
Yes,
going
sir.
to say something before I start the interview that
Okay.
only a real PJ Morton fan would know. You
Okay.
ready for this, Mark?
I'm ready.
Thug life, my nigga PJ.
Yes,
Thug
sir.
life, my nigga PJ.
That's right. That's right.
If
Yeah,
you
yeah.
weren't, if
It
you
ain't
weren't a
tatted on me.
PJ Morton fan, you would not know that.
Yes, sir. Claustrophobic. That's my man. Yes, sir.
Thug life. Okay, so it is so many layers to unpack, but I think I want to get to one topic that I don't know if everybody know the deep roots about it. You went to this amazing high school called St. Augustine
That's
that
right.
has
Shout out to
now been a
Purple.
part of this revitalization in music currently as we speak. Can you just speak and shout out to John Bartiz, who just won the Grammy?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Can you speak to this rich tradition, this musical tradition that for some reason everybody across America has heard? But could you just break down what is the key to the success of that amazing high school you went to?
Yeah, man, it's crazy because it doesn't, when you talk about it, it doesn't totally make sense, but it happens. And then I went to the grown-up St. Aug, which was Morehouse. You know what I'm saying? It's like I continued that. But St. Aug, man, it just it kind of like it was a concentrated, it wasn't a music school, right? That's what's crazy. It's
Right.
not a music school.
Right.
Noka was the music school. St. Aug is a Catholic school, all boys high school. It's not supposed to be the thing that churns out all of these musicians, but there's a culture there of discipline, you know, and of a camaraderie that goes long. I mean, it's a long line, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's a long line of that. And you just have to, if you decide to, you know, I was a guy who couldn't read music, right? But I joined the jazz band my junior year and I could really play already, but I couldn't read. And Mr. Bluen, who was my band teacher, you know, he saw it in me. There was another guy in the band who could read, but he wasn't nice. You know what I'm saying? He could just read. He could just read. So
Right.
it was Mr. Bluen's foresight to say, all right, PJ, I know you can't read. I'm gonna give you these CDs, man. Go learn A Train and go learn these joints. Come play. I came back ready. That was my first time playing the Jazz Fest in New Orleans. St. Aug was able to play the Jazz Fest, and so you had people like John Baptiste was a couple of years after me. I mean, so many musicians. Because we're talking about it, I'm overwhelmed with how many people. But Mr. Bluen and Mr. Hampton, who was over the Marching 100. And that was a culture. Our band with Mardi Gras and doing these parades and all of this, we were known as the Marching 100, and it was known in the city. And the men from St. Aug just had a reputation of having it together, of being, you know, just you had to have it together. And I wanted to go to St. Aug since I was a youngin'. Like I knew it's almost like college. It's almost like college, you know. And there's no place in the world that I go that I don't meet a Purple Night. I'm talking about Japan.
Wow.
You know, South America, they'd be like, Purple, because man, we just had this ability. And when I went to Morehouse, it was 6 of us in my class. We had our, you know, you'd have thought we was a gang. We had our Letterman jackets on Morehouse campus. Like, what's up? Like, we here, you know, you know what I mean? And so if you talk about colleges, people know about St. Aug at these colleges after high school because it just had that impact, man. And again, something I fell into, and I'm so grateful, man.
Well,
I got a piece of light skin history for y'all, and it's funny because PJ, you guys, it's funny because a lot of times we have narratives in our lives, even in our own community, that we just get wrong. First out, shout out to Stan Barrett, who's on ESPN. PJ, you know him. I did mornings with Stan in Charleston, and Stan told me about the glory of St. Aug. So I'm aware of St. Aug. Now here's one for you. All these years when people used to say how what a white guy Brian Gumble was, they didn't know he actually attended St. Aug. I think he transferred, but he did attend St. Aug.
Brian Gumble
transferred, and Brian Gumble started off his career at a black newspaper.
Wow.
Black sports magazine. So a lot of times we get it twisted. We don't know the rich history of people. And like you said, PJ, it's great because now St. Aug is getting some national love. I mean, obviously New Orleans, everybody.
Oh yeah, for sure. You mentioned
and
it
also
here.
It's funny because it's spoiled. Like, so Stan, I'll just take the liberties, but Stan, imagine he was spoiled because he went to St. Aug. First of all, grow up in New Orleans, right? Black. Go to St. Aug, black boys. goes to Howard, right? Then so when Stan then he got into black radio. So you can imagine his transition when he landed at ESPN in Connecticut. It was the first time Stan had to deal with the dynamics of dealing in a diverse world. The black excellent world, you know,
for sure.
And so PJ, you actually that's similar. It's interesting because actually it's probably similar in that you grew up in an environment. Obviously, you were in the black privileged environment in a sense of black excellence environment. But then that prepared you. How was that transition when you were playing with super group white groups, you know, and that type of thing?
Well, Maroon 5
to be exact, you know.
Well, it's funny you say that, Mark, because before St. Aug, my elementary school, I was the only black in my class.
Okay.
Me, and then Keith Taylor came 2nd grade, and Keith actually went to St. Aug with me, but I was used to that environment from kindergarten to 7th grade. But my balance was always my dad was a black pastor, so I was in church as much as I was school. So I was with black people all the time. But then in school, I had to deal with all types of people throughout the day and be the only black. I remember, shout out to Thomas, who met me in the sandbox when I was in kindergarten. It was the first white guy who came up to me and was like, "Hey man, you good?" I was like, "Whoa, okay." I ain't know how to, yeah, man. I still got love for those guys. But then I went to St. Aug and it was all black, right? That's when they knew my dad, because they didn't know my dad at Holy Name. I got to get through that. But then when I got to St. Aug, they're like, "Oh, you Paul Morton's son?" I'm like, "Dang, okay, this is a different level of it." But to be honest with you, my elementary school experience, because those are the years, development years, kindergarten to 7th grade, so I had spent the night at these guys' houses that weren't black, and I got to see other families. So I didn't have that certain fear or discomfort. So when I got to Maroon 5 and I look around and I'm like, dang, I'm not only the only black in the band. Shoot, sometimes I'm the only black period around, like, you know what I'm saying? Like
crew members and all.
Crew, everything, you know what I'm saying? But there was no discomfort because I was really comfortable in myself already because I had experienced all types of people. So it was actually a natural transition for me. I didn't feel any kind of way,
And it's crazy, PJ, because you just made me just think about something I had never thought about, because again, being from a small town, Springfield, Illinois, but busing started for me in 4th grade. And I hadn't even thought about it, but what you just said, you're absolutely right. It led to me having a career, even though I worked in black radio most of the time. I was able to, and like you just said, and I think it's something that very few Americans, and this is what the problem is, that kind of connection, like you said, where you spend the night at other people's home, when you get a part of their life, that happened for me. That my life changed in 4th grade with busing. And you're absolutely right, PJ. What happens is, I hadn't even thought about it before, but you can be your authentic self in any room.
Yeah,
and that's
after
what
that,
most people can't be. Most white folks can't be, and most black people can't be. So when we approach race, they can't. You're not even dealing with yourself. And so when you are, you end up having, like you said, it's a magical advantage because you can actually be your genuine self.
True. Go ahead.
Well,
no, I was going to say that it was amazing to me because even when I got to Morehouse, this was pretty amazing to me. The guys who didn't have my experience of dealing with white people and other types of people, I got to Morehouse and it was the most brilliant black men in the world. I'm talking about, like, I stood out in New Orleans. When I got to Morehouse, it's like, oh, we all fly, we all smart. We all came from, we know excellence, all of this. But what I realized was, if you don't have that experience, sometimes even as a grown man, you can experience discomfort with dealing with other types of people if you didn't have that experience. I wasn't intimidated, none of that, because you know what I'm saying? Because I had that. So yeah, it was pretty amazing to me.
Go ahead, Bootsy we call Bootsy the questioner. Yes, Bootsy. Questions. This is why I pay him so much to be on my show.
The big
he
bucks.
got the questions. Go ahead, Bootsy.
Okay, so there's a few things to unpack, but I want to give a supreme shout out to one of our mutual friends. Yana Crawley's birthday was yesterday.
Shout out to Yana.
Shout out to Yana Crawley.
We all Aries, yes sir. Me and
I
Yana.
know.
Yes,
now
sir.
the interesting thing is, I'm a lifelong go-go musician. Me and Yana Crawley was in the same go-go band growing up for a while.
Shout out to DC, yeah.
Yep, and until I left to go work with Earth, Wind & Fire for 7 years. But I am fascinated I've always been fascinated with New Orleans. I call us cousins. In DC, the go-go rich tradition has never wavered. What do you think has been the key and the glue to the fact that New Orleans has sustained their long musical rich tradition through generations and generations, mainly with young people playing instruments, because as you know, in some areas, there's nobody playing instruments or whatever. And New Orleans and DC is one of the only places I've been where I've seen young people from kids to adults play instruments. What do you think has been that key in New Orleans sustaining that?
Yeah, I think I agree. I think we cousins. When I would go to DC, I'm like, yo, they radio is different. Like they just do whatever they want to do, and that's what New Orleans does. We just march to the beat of our own drum. It's like we don't care what's going on. I think it's a few things. I think one is we're not music business towns, so we're music towns. But the business was never able to, and this is our gift and curse. But the business was never able to infiltrate. Like they would come in and take us and move to, take us to LA or take us to New York or Chicago, whatever it was. But in there, the people was like, nah, we don't trust y'all. Get out of here. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's, like I said, gift and curse. But the gift of it is we were protective, man. We don't let nobody. And it's a culture. I mean, you got, when you talk about doctors and lawyers in other cities, we got 4th generation horn players. I'm talking about people who came from the ship, came from the slave ship and was in Congo Square playing. We got people who started the art form. You understand what I'm saying? And when you talk about New Orleans, you're talking about the first American art form of music, right? You're talking about jazz starting here, that's music, period. And our jazz didn't turn into contemporary jazz. Our jazz turned into R&B with Fats Domino. And then our R&B turned into rock and roll. Elvis was chasing Fats Domino. Right, so we started American music as it is without even trying. You understand what I'm saying? And then so when hip hop is at its height, we like, yo, that's cool. We're gonna just rap on this one beat. Like
bounce, baby.
We're just gonna rap on this one beat. This is what we feel. We know what's going on out there, but we gonna do this. You know what I'm saying? and it's still going. It still moves you. When you talk about second line music, that movement, I couldn't help but move when you played it because that's a culture thing. You know what I'm saying? And we haven't been infiltrated by the business, and it's protective, man. And that's what I love about DC. That's why I always feel at home when I'm in DC, because it's like we don't really care what else is going on. You know what I mean? Like
that's a fact, bro.
Yeah.
So I guess my other question would be, and as a musician, I always wanted to know this about you. So I have probably been watching you since day one. My parents were, my mom was a choir director, so I knew about your dad's records before I even knew that he was actually a preacher as well. Wow, but I would love to know what was the process that you decided to say, okay, I know I'm successful in Maroon 5. This is a great gravy train. This is amazing. But you know what? I'm going to do PJ Morton, the solo artist. When did that day happen? And did you feel any apprehension when you decided I'm just going here now, despite how great this thing over here is doing?
Yeah, well, I guess it was because it had already started. Maroon came at a time. See, I had been on a Grammy. When I was at Morehouse, I wrote my sophomore year. I was on Indy Iree's album. I wrote this song called "Interested." Ooh. And she
one of my favorite songs ever, because I'm interested.
Yes, sir. When I said because I'm interested in your middle name, don't be ashamed. I said that because my middle name is Sylvester, right? And I used to be like, I don't want to really say my middle name, and so that's why I wrote that lyric. But that was at Morehouse. So she was nominated for a Grammy my junior year. I was about to drop out of school so I was working already. I was in this already. You know what I'm saying? When I graduated, I went on tour with Erykah Badu. And I was her background singer and her keyboard player. And then when I stopped that, I went with Jermaine Dupri right after all the huge records. After Confessions, after Mariah, I came in because B. Cox went and he was blowing up crazy. And I became JD's new B. Cox, right? I was playing the keys on everything. So I was in it. And I had done my solo album. My first band was at Morehouse called Freestyle Nation with Lily. Was in DC. Pastor Willie Wilson.
Shout out to Lydia Wilson and Reverend Willie Wilson Union Temple Baptist Church.
Absolutely. That's my connection to DC. So the way we did it, grassroots. The bass player was from Birmingham. The guitar player was from Reno, Nevada. And I was from New Orleans. So that's why we went to DC. That's why DC is close to me too, because that's one of the first cities I stepped outside of my own, Atlanta, and New Orleans. And so I was already in it. And when Maroon came, it was a breath of fresh air. I was like, yo, I'm burnt out. The venues weren't growing anymore. It was like the same venues. I was like, okay. And I got the call out of the blue while I was on tour. My friend Adam Blackstone called me and was like, yo, would you want to play with Maroon 5? And I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm actually kind of tired of what I'm doing right now. You know what I'm saying? And I canceled the last 3 dates of my tour, or postponed them, went to LA and auditioned for Maroon 5. I was the first one to audition. That was it. And now they've told me the story. Man, it's been 12 years, but they told me the story now, like after I played that first time, they was like, all right, we good. They had a couple of people that day, and then they canceled auditions the next day. And then boom, Maroon 5 changed my life, right? Like, I mean, I started hitting all my bucket lists of everything. But after a while and after success, I realized that success wasn't the only thing that drove me, right? It was also contributing in a real way, saying what I wanted to say. When you're a part of a band, it is democratic, like you're saying what we want to say collectively.
Right.
Yeah, we're saying what we want to say collectively. And I just knew I had too much of a unique story and too much of a unique experience to just fall in and just be democratic the whole time. I love Maroon. I'm still there. I just got back from Argentina 2 days ago with Maroon 5. So it's beautiful, right? But I knew that there was more, and there was legacy and all these things I started to think about outside of just success. That's awesome. But it's like I had to contribute more. So that was really why I was like, nah, let me keep pushing.
So PJ, basically speaking of New Orleans, we lost Ellis Marsalis, right?
Yes, we did.
And I remember Dave Chappelle, he said his mother told him when a griot dies, it's as if the forest has burned down, right? Or a library has burned down. I'm sorry. And so Ellis Marsalis, you can't almost like imagine New Orleans without Ellis Marsalis' influence musically, right?
Yes, indeed.
So what happens is the Marsalis name. I mean, Wynton actually was doing the same. His Young Lions, I guess, was doing the same thing. Is that what happens? Because New Orleans does one of the few places that does have tradition that they keep alive. Is that you think going to be the answer?
Yeah, the stories, man. I mean,
And now you, PJ Morton, you are now one of the OGs.
Sure. That's what I realized when I moved home. But like when you talk about Winford Wynton and Bradford and like those guys, and even when you talk about Terrence Blanchard. So I talked about my school, St. Aug, right? But the other school that was, so they wouldn't let me in. Ellis Marsalis personally sent a note for me. He heard me play and wanted me to go to NOCA, which is our music school in New Orleans. And so St. Aug was college prep. So you couldn't do both. It was like a half-day thing where if you went to a public school, you could go to NOCA as well. They changed the rules like 2 years after I graduated. That's why John Baptiste was able to go to St. Aug and NOCA, right?
Damn.
But NOCA, when you talk about NOCA, you're talking about Terrence Blanchard, who was up for an Oscar the same year as John. And you talk about this lineage that is just amazing. And the great thing about it is Ellis has so many kids. He has so many kids outside of his own kids that will continue to tell those stories and keep that tradition going. He did what he was supposed to do as a griot. You know what I mean? He made sure, and I hate that I didn't get to go to NOCA and I wasn't able to be closer to him. But I got it. I got it from so many other people. And like you said, New Orleans is so big on tradition and continuing the story. Me, I love innovation. So I take that history and I bring it with me, but I try to push it forward as well. But he did what he was supposed to do, man.
And PJ, I know you don't have a lot of time. We're going to talk about your new project. So your album is dropping on the 29th? Yep.
Yes, sir. April 29th.
We back.
Again,
we back, PJ. We back.
We out here, Boots. We out here, man.
And Bootsy, I was immersed in my 10,000 steps this morning. I was immersed in PJ Morton. And I got a couple of things that came to mind, Bootsy. Number one, the word lush, especially on this single. Please don't walk away. Yeah. PJ, you always got those lush, you like lush arrangements. Yeah. I hear you little Quincy Jones. I hear you got the horns, you got the horn arrangements over here.
He got them strings going now.
Yes, sir.
And Mark, He has been loving them strings, Mark. He's been loving them strings lately.
I've been on them strings.
And because he infuses everything, he got the J Dilla drum. I hear you, son.
Yeah, man. It's all me, you know. It's all me. I just have, like I said, it's all mixed. Gumbo is the word, you know. It's like all these things mixed in. I was born in the hip hop generation, right? But then I love Frank Sinatra, and I love the Beatles, and I love Stevie, and I love Donny Hathaway, and I love Prince. And MJ, and what Quincy and MJ did to me is always the blueprint, you know, with Off the Wall and Thriller, with the way they snuck it in on you. Like you didn't know it was a full orchestra there. You know what I'm saying? Because you dancing too much and you just listening to this simple melody on top of this complicated arrangement, you know.
And PJ, the crazy thing is, Mike didn't even like it in the beginning.
Right.
He was telling Quincy, "Hey, can you cut it down a little bit?"
Too much.
Man, just run with it, bro.
Yeah, and he changed the game, and that's all. I'm always shooting for that, right? But then it's our drums and our movements now, because I need a little more kick and a little, you know what I'm saying? Because of what I grew up on, I need to feel that. So I just love putting it all together, man. That's really who I am.
And so look, PJ, I think we had 10 to 10:30. I know you had a schedule, so I'm going to honor it. So why don't you introduce your latest? I got the video ready to go. Again, Bootsy, get your last accolades on to PJ as we wrap it up.
PJ, my dying wish, a lot of DMV people's wish, me and Raheem Devon talked about this 3 times. We got to get PJ Morton to do a go-go song. The DMV needs a PJ Morton. We got the musicians ready. We need a DMV PJ Morton go-go song, and my life will be over.
We did, man. Listen, when I was still living in Atlanta, and I'm so sorry, I can't remember the name of this go-go band that you would play in Atlanta.
XO band.
Yes, sir.
XO
but we used
band.
to do come out, wherever you are. Man, and it was jamming, boy. I love go-go, cause you know what I'm saying. So I'm with it. I'm down. I'm gonna
hit you up, PJ.
Make it happen.
BJ, I'm gonna hit you up, bro.
Yes, sir. For sure.
Congratulations, though, on this new album, because we've been waiting. We have been waiting. Okay. Hold on. Last thing. I'm sorry, Mark. Are the strings addictive to you now? Because when I saw the live concert, it just seems like you've been loving these strings, PJ.
Yeah. What's so crazy is real quick.
I'm sorry.
No. You good? So when I was playing for Badu, shout out to my girl Stephanie, who just was the first Black lead string player on the Oscars, right? She snuck in. She was still in college. She snuck in backstage to Erykah Badu concert. I knew I wanted to do my first album. I hadn't started writing it or nothing, but I had the vision. I saw it in my head, like, man, I'm gonna use strings, and I had never heard this girl play, arrange, nothing, right? Like, and she snuck back. I said, you do strings? I said, she did. She was a string player on my first album, did all my arrangements. Now she's on the Oscars. It's crazy. But since then, I've always loved. So my budget just kept getting better. You know what I'm saying? So I started adding people. That was a quartet that we used to stack. You know what I'm saying? And then it grew and grew. I've always loved strings. They just connect to me. I think it's me being a movie buff, you know, and movie scores. It's just always there. But yeah, that's just a love of mine, and it's no different on this album. Let me talk about this album real quick. I got Stevie Wonder, I got Nas, I got Elder Barge, I got Jill Scott, I got Alex Isley, I got my man Chronix, amazing reggae artist. This album is my biggest, man, and I'm just so excited, that I was able to really take my time and lock in during this pandemic and really be intentional about what I wanted to say. And so the album drops April 29th. It's called Watch the Sun. And that title, man, is really talking about us being in our darkest time ever, but if we take note from nature, the sun sets and rises every single day. So as dark as it gets, if we just watch the sun, we know that we're going to be right back to it, if we just stick through it. So I can't wait for y'all to hear it, man. And it's an experience. Yeah.
Yeah, that's that you just laid it out. We can't wait to get it.
And DC, Wale, I got Wale on the album. How can I
Come
miss
on,
I can let
son.
him out? Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so also, man, go ahead and get this album. If you haven't purchased, because it's interesting. We're in an interesting space. A lot of people have gotten out of the habits of buying their music. Go ahead and support PJ.
Why not?
PJ is the young OG.
So he can get a bigger budget to get more strings.
Because you're going to get excellence you're gonna get excellence every time you deal with this, brother. And so let this not be the last time, PJ, you join us. Again,
Absolutely.
You can go ahead and introduce your latest single. I'm gonna play it right now.
Yes, sir. This is the new single. It's a classic love song, man. I'm bringing it back. It's called "Please Don't Walk Away." Right here.
It's never gone this far. It's never been this bad. But I won't let it erase the memories of good times we've had. And even with everything that we've been going through, you never had to ask me. I still choose you. Oh girl, please don't walk away from my love. Please don't walk away from my love. I hope you can hear my heart. I hope it's speaking clearly. I don't wanna be apart. I just want you near me. Oh no, please don't walk away from my love. Please don't walk away from my love. Please don't walk away from my love. Please don't walk away from my
That's a little bit, PJ Morton.
Yes, sir.
One, please don't walk.
Boy,
We trying to say something, man. We trying to say something.
no time now,
Smoothed
right?
out. What's going on? Smoothed out, man. Damn.
Yeah, man. I was going through it, man. I was going through it. I had to beg. I said, please don't. Please
And
don't.
then the color was black and white. Then the color came in, man.
Hey, man. She came back, man. I got the color back in my life. Yes, sir.
I was listening, as I said, I was walking this morning. I was listening to New Orleans Girl, or the title is. But you're talking about
girl. Yeah.
your dad and mom's long-term relationship, and then also the fine women of New Orleans. But so man, obviously, man, this is the ultimate romantic song. Everything about it, Bootsy, production-wise, is perfect. Vocals, perfect. It's interesting. Now I could be wrong, PJ. To me, I feel like you are now hopped all the way into the vocalist and the sex symbol. You know what I mean? Like you basically, I felt like early on, you were a reluctant like front man to me. I felt like
I don't totally disagree with you. You know, I have always been a musician first, right?
There we
That's
go.
what I
That's
was. I was happy. My biggest dream when I was a kid was to play for an artist that was performing on the Grammys. Like that was it. I just want to play keys behind somebody that was performing on the Grammys. And so it took me, I didn't consider myself a singer for many years. The only reason I became an artist is because I would send these demos out and no artist would want them. You know, it would be like, I don't get it. And I was like, I hear it. I know how I want to do it. So I just started doing it. And, you know, I guess I developed the singing side, you know, even more and more over the years. And I would agree with you. I think I'm a singer now, you know, finally.
Yeah. No,
But yeah,
it felt that way. It felt like you were all the way committed. And again,
yeah, that's true.
even from a standpoint, I think again, you've done a lot of work, so we know the sound. But it's like I really felt it like that. And again, man, you're every aspect like you, and it's probably because you're probably a perfectionist. Bootsy, all the sounds.
I'm a perfectionist. I like mistakes though too, so I'm that type of perfectionist.
Right, but it's almost like I guess sonically it's always so rich. And you know how it is when you're walking, you get a chance to spend some time that you probably don't normally spend. Sure. I was like everything, you know, there's a lot of subtleties. There's a lot of again the strings are crazy, and on that one, man, again I love.
But Mark, but you know what I think about him? Because I do this too. I think the environment that he was born in, he can't help but to hear it. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know, like when you're born in it, you've been hearing it all your life. You've been doing this all your life. You can't help. It can't help but to seep it in you. And I think he's an amazing reflection of all these musical influences that he has been hearing from birth before he probably knew that it connected to him like that.
Yeah. I had listened to, before I was a songwriter and a musician, producer, I was listening to Stevie. I would go to it was Circuit City. They don't even exist anymore. But I used to go every week and buy Stevie Wonder CDs consecutively, like by years. You know, I started in like 67 or something, and I would buy them every year. So when I started writing songs, I was like, dang, and I used to back off from it, like, dang, it sounds too much like Stevie. My bad. You know what I mean? And then I started to find my way. And then, of course, when I became friends with Stevie, and he gave me a green light, I was like, I'm not hiding no Stevie in me. Like this is who I am, man. And my man
here, baby.
Yeah. So we good. Yeah.
And so PJ, to me, you musicians are really like athletes, right? And so you look at a guy like an El DeBarge, right? Who's been through it, right? But it seems like he still got that instrument, man. So how was it? And speaking of knowing who you are, I always tell the story of, I remember years ago when El, you know, was going through one of his rough times. He was working for Chico, right? He's working for Chico.
Wow.
El did not realize that everybody still the Barges like the Jacksons, right? Yes. And so my friend had a club. We reached him. At the point, he didn't even have a band. He didn't have nothing. He just came to town, DC musicians. They knew all the songs, and he sang to a sold out show, right? But he didn't realize how powerful and how long lasting his whole thing is. But anyway, that was probably 15 years ago. So now you're working with him. Tell us about that experience. Tell us about his voice. It seems like he's still got it. And I think people don't really understand his musicianship.
No. El is still him. He's still all the way El. Like there's no difference in that instrument. I had the song I have on the album. I said, you know, if I can't get El DeBarge on this song, it's not gonna go on the album. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't know El, and I reached out, and it turns out he was a fan of mine, and we just connected crazy. El is actually in New Orleans today. We got something. We're taping something today. Man, he's the same. And I walked in. I was there early, and he didn't make it, and he asked me for a later time. So I came to the studio. I was getting to the studio when I was supposed. He was already there at the piano, playing in a special way. I'm like, yo, is this a dream? Like, what's going on? Like, El is like, oh man, and he sounds like those records, man. He sounds exactly like those records, and such a beautiful soul. You know, we know that DeBarge has gone through so much as a family, man. So just to have him with us, like, we have to shower our legends and love on them like that, because he is in my DNA. Like I said, the Stevie stuff is so obvious because of the choices when I sing sometimes, but some of the subtle inspirations you don't know inside of me. But the DeBarges, melody wise and stuff, is a part of my DNA. I would not be writing songs the way I would if it weren't for them. So when I saw him moving around, I'm like, please, L, come, you know. So he's with me, man, and I can't wait to work on more music with him. But this record on my album is one of them ones, man.
Can
And
you talk about the Nas? Because I'm fascinated about this Nas thing.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and I believe Nas is one of the most unappreciated musicians, hip hop rappers of his generation. I don't know if they fully appreciate him. Could you please explain the connection with Nas and what the song was about?
Yeah, Nas. See, when I was a preacher's kid, so some hip hop I had to catch later on in life, right? Because I couldn't. So I missed Illmatic in the moment. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I missed some of that stuff, right? So I had to go back as a musician and get to that stuff. But this song that I had, that I knew Stevie, could work on, Nas. I could only hear Nas on this song. Like that's how I am as a producer. Sometimes I will throw a record away if it can't be what I hear because it ruins it for me. You know, it's like, nah, that's the way I hear it. And so shout out to Gabe, who is Nas' right hand man. He's from New Orleans. And I'm like, Gabe, man, I know it's crazy, but I hear Nas on this. And Nas is such a musician, you know, his dad with jazz musician, all of that stuff.
Right.
His appreciation for music is just so high that I knew he could appreciate it, but it was just a matter of getting it to him and getting him to understand it. And man, I just wish I could say more. I mean, this coming so, but like he's spitting, man. I mean, he's being him on this, and it's me on the production, you know, and it's the lush strings, and it's all of this, and it's the Moog and the synths around him. It's like I got to produce a Nas record, you know. So it's like a dream come true for me. And in some ways on this record, it's a dream come true for him without me saying too much. But it's like it's special, man. It's special. But that's the part of it. I just couldn't hear anybody else. So I'm like, well, especially with this album, because I feel like it's a monumental album for me, or like sort of a, what do they call it? You know, magnum opus. Like this is my, I feel like Gumbo was the start of something. This is the close of a chapter of something. So I just was pulling all my stops. That's why Stevie's there. That's, you know what I mean? Not just playing harmonica, but a proper duet with him singing with me. So I just was shooting all my shots. Yeah.
Hey, because PJ ain't gonna lie. When I first heard You're the Only One, I was kind of waiting for Stevie to sing for a while. But I love the harmonica, but I was like, that's what he did. So
yeah, and that's the thing is, that's how you know there's relationship there, because Steve will put a harmonica on your record. Now getting him to sing it is a whole different thing. You understand what I'm saying? Like, yeah, he'll play harmonica. He's like, oh yeah, I throw some harmonica on there if he. But getting him to sing is a whole different thing. And also, he's working on a new album. I can say this because he said it already in the interview. But the reason we were already together is because I have a duet on his album that he's working on too. So
okay,
man, look, man, we working, man. We working.
Let me ask this last question before Mark jump in. I would love to know, who did you listen to the most vocally? Who was your greatest vocal inspiration? Because I know as a musician who is locked into being a musician, it's two different sides of your brain or whatever. But as a vocalist, who did you listen to and get the most from besides Stevie? Because we know Stevie is one.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of like I didn't study vocalists. I studied the songs, and then I guess the presentation. I think that's why I could go from Everything's Gonna Be All Right, where it's like some funky, like soulful thing, and then I'll go to First Began, and it'll be a Stevie love song type thing, and then Please Don't Walk Away sounds like Isley Brothers or something. It's because I never really focused on vocalists so much. I mean, Brandy, once I got of age, actually, like Brandy was, but I don't really make those choices. But that's who I really listened to as a vocalist. To be honest, I studied Brandy. You know what I'm saying? Like we were really heavy on that. But like just like Marvin, they were all meshed in together. I wasn't really like focused on that. The same way I wasn't focused on keys. I never just wanted. I could play, I could do, you know what I mean? But it was never like, yo, let me focus on. It was always the songs. That was always my motivation. The records, like the complete record, And so yeah, to be honest, I can't say that I focused on a singer. That's why I said when I started writing, Stevie just came out, but I didn't. It wasn't because I was like actually trying,
to emulate him so much. He was already in your DNA.
It was just the songs I was connected to, and it was like, all right, well, this is how I present a song,
And PJ's bank account thanks him for that, because if you got a song, teach a man,
all right for me, man.
Teach a man how to sing and he'll eat for a day. Teach a man how to write a damn song, he'll eat forever.
You understand what I'm saying?
Wait a minute, PJ. So how did you, being a preacher's kid, and how did you still learn how to spit them bars? How did you in your daddy's
you've been
house?
spitting lately, PJ. You have been. We saw you. We saw you on the cipher for the we saw you in the soul cipher.
How did you control them bars, son?
Well, yeah, man. Well, I like I said, I'm a kid of the hip hop generation still, so I was catching it. I was with my friends. I was, you know what I'm saying? Like we was finding a way. I was getting to, I found a way to get to girls, and I found a way to get to hip hop. Yeah, man. No, it was just in me. I think I am a sponge, to be honest with you. Like that's the best way to describe me musically. If I feel it, it's coming with me, and it's gonna come out one way or another, and it's gonna come out whenever it decides to. And because I care about the record and the song so much, that I do whatever is necessary, whatever it serves. I feel like a servant. Is very unselfish, for me with these records. And I was a very unselfish producer and songwriter when I work with other artists. It's like it don't matter if PJ's in it. What's your story? I want to become you. I want to become who you are, And so I think sometimes I slip into that. That's why these features aren't because I want features. It's because it's what serves the song. You know what I mean? That's where that came from. Just soaking it all in.
And PJ, do you think it's interesting? It's kind of funny because it feels like I talk about race all the time, but it's not. That's not what I try to do, but it just comes up.
And it's in everything.
And do you think because you come from New Orleans, where like you say, amazing musicians of whatever race, it just period. Now you just happen to seem to have the ability to find. You got a couple young white singers in your. That are around you that are amazing. Yeah. And I know you weren't just looking for it. It just happened.
Yeah.
It's just, you think it's just because you just got talent?
After Yebba and Joe, I was like, wait, okay, I got a pattern going on. What's going on? Nah, but it really was, it was the serving of the song. It just happened. And to be honest, and I think JoJo knows this, but I actually a few times reached out to a couple of my sisters first, on these
you
records.
You say their names or no? Or you never?
No, I'm not gonna say their names. But like I reached out to some sisters before that, and they weren't down, and so I don't talk about that part of the story.
You can here if you want to, but
because I believe that it worked out the way it was supposed to. I don't even need to go into that. But like they know, they saw me win that Grammy for both Say So and How Deep Is Your Love. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't have to do that, man.
Let's stop right here. Yeah. Hold on. Attention! If PJ Morton calls you, pick up the phone.
Answer.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on. It ain't like they just handing out a Grammy award.
It could be a Grammy on the other line.
Right.
It could be a Grammy on the other line.
I don't know but you know what? I will say, a friend of mine who's doing an event probably falls into. I think a lot of times people get so tired of being used, right? That you get in a mindset that blocks your blessing. A friend of mine is putting together an event. She does events. And one of the people, she reached out to a person who's on, one of those reality shows. And she was basically like, her person was like, well, her hosting starts at blank, right? She wasn't even listening to what the whole thing was. And it's like, there's not a lot of big, there's not a lot of big events that are targeted to us. There's not a lot of Grammy winning artists. So it's you have to know how to make your decisions. Usually, like people, they're making a big deal out of the Super Bowl. They ain't paying them nothing to do Super Bowl. No, it's the biggest, right? It's not. That's how it works.
You're gonna get paid. Don't worry. Invest in yourself. I mean, as we're closing, like that's one of the main takeaways I hope from me is, you see all this major stuff happening around me. Maroon 5. I was on Young Money at one time. I got 4 Grammys now. We've done this independently, man. This is Morton Records. This is from New Orleans. Wow. This is right here that I'm doing this. This is a Black-owned company doing this. You know what I'm
on,
saying? With my own budgets, you know, these orchestras are on me. You understand what I'm saying?
Strings,
And
because you love them strings.
yeah, I love them strings, man. So give me more, buy more records so I can get more strings.
Well,
But
PJ,
can I
yeah.
ask you one? Can I ask him one tough
you
question?
got to be brief. PJ got
Okay.
he got an interview
Okay.
right now. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Where do you see the future of R&B music in 5 years as somebody who's been carrying the torch? If I had to ask you to see 5 years, where do you see the state of R&B music in 5 years?
I am hopeful. I mean, it to me is going in the best direction it ever has.
Okay.
When we talking about, I mean, since its heyday, like since the other best time. I mean, we got her, we got Lucky, we got Alex Isley, we got Kenyon Dixon, we got BJ the Chicago Kid. I mean, we got Jasmine, and she's where she's supposed to be, right? As a leader, as a leader in this, and she got that because she's writing those songs and she's singing the heck out of those songs, and that's what we want R&B to be judged by, right? That's the core of it. That's the foundation of it. And I'm very hopeful also because the power is getting back into the artist's hands and creative is supposed to lead. That's where we start missing out because I can't be thinking of the radio and I can't be thinking of how many records I'm gonna sell when I'm writing a song.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying? Creative has the lead. We could look. I got my marketing degree from Morehouse, so we gonna think about the marketing.
Come on now.
After the records are done. You understand?
Okay, PJ, we're kicking you off because you know you got another.
Yes, sir.
You've been a blessing, my
been
brother.
great,
Thank
man.
you.
Thank y'all, man.
Thank you, Godspeed.
Much
We
love.
can't wait for it, bro.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, PJ Morton, joining us. And PJ has another interview.
Yeah,
He's amazing, man. That was fun, wasn't it?
We kept him 30 minutes later. My God, I feel so
know,
bad.
and it's my friend. My friend, she gonna cuss me out.
Oh, wow. Amazing, amazing insight, amazing perspective, amazing insight on his story. Because as he said, and you know this too, all we see is the Grammy and the awards, but we don't see the steps that took there. We don't see them dark days. We don't see the decisions that had to be made for you to leave the Maroon 5 to go believe in yourself. Like that was a magnificent story. The context of it, believe in yourself, the whole thing was amazing. And he was as cool as we thought he was going to be.
You know, and Bootsy, isn't it interesting how it's a theme? Like we're all striving for success.
Right.
And then it's funny how the success animal works. Like we all know, like you said, you can be a part of a group, right? And you can make all that money and just kind of be like, well, I guess I'm going to sacrifice all this stuff that I want to do, right? Mm-hmm. And then, but it's the individual too, right? It's the individual too. Some people are comfortable, and Bootsy, you really know because you work with Earth, Wind, and Fire. Some people are comfortable being a conga player for 30 years and getting that check and not worry about it, right? Then other people,
and that's not a bad thing either. And for some people,
it's not a judgment because like I'm gonna keep it real, Bootsy. I am at the space in my life that if I got millions of dollars or I got financial stability, right? I'm not in a space where I necessarily would say, okay, I'm gonna take my financial stability and then try to save the world. I'm not there right now. I'm not there. I would do things as I always have to make a positive change in the world, right. But I would not gamble the financial security for that. That's where I am. Some people would not sleep at night if they did not, gamble their financial security to do either pursue a dream, either to make a concept that they always wanted to bring happen. I'm in a place where, what about you, Bootsy? You get financial stability. Are you in a place where there's some things you want to do? Is it a Grammy Award? Is it an album? Is it a tour? Yeah. You're doing God's work because you're actually sending kids to college. So that's being satisfied. Would you just fund that? And what would you do if you got the financial security you wanted?
No, that's a very interesting question. But I know I explained to you this is that I have now cracked the code with what I'm doing to get more kids to college. And I tell everybody out of all the things that I do every year, the two greatest things that I do besides taking my son to his baseball game is when I go to these backyard cookouts for these kids graduating, knowing they're going to college, and I had a role in that. That's the first thing. And the second thing, which I love the most, and it's really, and I had this happen yesterday, is that when I help the kid get to college, but I know grandma or grandpa can't take him. So I say, don't worry, I'm going to put him in my truck and take him. So for the last 4 years, I've taken at least 2 kids to college for their first time to unpack. And that is a whole different perspective either. And you know, as you know, I lived in a time, I tell everybody the stories that I had stage 4 cancer the second time. Money, a whole bunch of stuff could not help me. If it was my time to go, it was my time to go. Money does not move me in the way that it may move other people. Money is not my master. I'm not a slave to money. Money provides me opportunities, but money helps me provide opportunities to other people.
Yes.
So for me, it's definitely a little bit different. And you know, unlike you, I only got one kid. You know what I mean? And I got, as having a guy that got 5 sisters, a lot of cousins, nieces, and nephews. He's never really not going to be in no situation where he's going to be in a, you know what I mean? So I probably would be able to do more, but you know what I mean? But I know one thing, whatever it is, I'm going to do what I love and what I'm passionate about as we do this every day at 10 a.m. You know,
well, get ready, Bootsy. I'm asking you because get ready. The unlimited money is coming. So just get ready. I don't want you to be surprised. I don't want you to be, I don't know what I'm going to do. I have all this.
That's what my hand is.
Right. I just want you to be ready. And I want everybody to think, you know, all those dreams and hopes and everything that you want, you're going to get. You know, you have to get into the you deserve it. You got in the right mindset. You can't start from I ain't nothing but a sinner. No, you got to start from I'm made in the same image as God. So you have to start there, right? That's where we got to start. We got to shake the whole I ain't nothing but a sinner. Now, speaking of that, Bootsy, we're hitting the streets today. I'm hitting the streets today. I will be out here, DC, day of play at RFK, noon to 4, and I'll be out there. Huh?
I love it. I may have to pull up on you.
Yeah, come on and pull up because we have a friend, Bootsy. We have a friend. My friend is your friend, who has this new company, and we're going to be doing it for the first time in the DMV area, but it's also going to be available for those. And actually, you'll be able to buy it on the Mark, my website. Mm-hmm. This right here, Bootsy, you can take. So, you know, matter of fact, get the kids ready. Is there an outdoor? Is there an outdoor space?
A huge outdoor space.
Okay, so we can go, Bootsy. We need to get this on the calendar. My man's just got this, and DC is one of the few cities that has it. So we're going to have the music, we're going to have delicious beverage, we're going to have the food, Bootsy, and then we're going to have... So that'll be going on today with the day of play. And Bootsy, we have that.
A phone party?
Yeah, let's have a party for the kids, man. So we can talk, we can get a date and make that happen.
Absolutely.
Okay, so what a great show, man. Tomorrow.
Amazing. And you know it's a great show when we spent the whole hour, but it only feels like 15 minutes, bro.
Man. And we took up all his time. Okay, tomorrow's Men's Health, Bootsy. My man Stan is back. Stan the first time to deal with the tragedy. But Men's Health tomorrow. And again, if you're watching for the first time, you haven't subscribed to the channel. And we will see you every day, every weekday at 10 a.m. It's me and Bootsy right here. So, all right, Bootsy, maybe I'll see you. Maybe I won't. We leave with a little bit more of our mate.
I know your eyes in the morning sun. I feel you touch me in the pouring rain. And the moment that you wander far from me, I wanna feel you in my arms again. And you come to me on a summer breeze, keep me warm in your love, then you softly leave, and it's me. How deep is your love? It's your love. How deep is your love? I really need to know. 'Cause we live in a fool, yeah, breaking us down, yeah, when they all should let us be. We belong to you and me.
I believe in you.
Yeah.
You know the door to my very soul. You're the light in my deepest dark darkest hour. You're my savior.